was looking forward to this anime because it meant I could revisit the world of Haruhi. But considering this was a spin-off and completely different from the original, I did not know what to expect. Hi everyone, I'm Joe Yu, welcome to this Newin anime review. In this episode, Nagato Yuki-chan no Shoushitsu, also known as the Disappearance of Nagato Yuki-chan. Set in an alternative timeline of the Haruhi universe, the Disappearance of Nagato Yuki-chan premise is, what would happen if the world of Haruhi was missing the supernatural plot elements and becomes a normal slice of life? Well, to put it short, Kion would have never met Haruhi, but instead gets closer to Nagato. The plot of the whole show is about the relationship between Nagato and Kion, with the question during the series, can Nagato get Kion to fall for her? And so forth. They go on to perform a huge range of normal activities building their relationship. Pretty much everyone knows Nagato has a crush on Kion except Kion himself, and everyone's playing wingman hoping to get the two together. Unfortunately for the story, nothing really happens. They go on and do a various range of normal activities you find in slice of life genre. The story however does get interesting at episode 10 with a sudden shift in tone, turning it from a comedy to a drama. However, this is short lived. So unfortunately the story is nothing special. It's a simple romance story of can the girl get the guy. And the whole show is like this majority of the time. Only at one part of the story it gets really interesting. Because we get so used to this new world, the new characters, and what happens when you take that away from it? The show's pace and tone changes drastically from a silly slice of life comedy to a supernatural drama. And unfortunately it's just for a bit because the show changes back to its generic slice of life. The show has a slow start and doesn't get really interesting until Haruhi arrives at episode 3. But it also has a rather underwhelming, unsatisfying ending. But seriously, for the fact if these characters weren't Haruhi characters, there's probably not a lot going for this show. Yuki Nagato is the main character this time around in this universe. Unlike her character in Haruhi, she is more awkward and shy this time around. She gets nervous a lot when she goes close to Kion. And she is also a gluttonous gamer girl that has the personality traits of a little girl, and that is kind of annoying as she can't really do anything on her own. As the series progresses, she gains more confidence in herself, and she starts to become more open to the people around her, eventually wishing everything stays the same as it is. That is until episode 10, when she completely does a 180. For episodes 10 to 13, Nagato's personality changes to a more familiar appearance, reminiscing that of the mute, emotionless Nagato from Haruhi, and I love this change to the plot, as we have gotten so used to Nagato in this world, so it was very surprising to see her completely different suddenly. Kion is Nagato's primary love interest. He is pretty much the same as he was in Haruhi, although he probably has a more laid back attitude. Pushing him from the main character to the plot device was kind of detrimental to him. His interactions with Nagato felt rather forced, and it seems as if the relationship was going nowhere. However, he does get some good development towards the series end, especially during the disappearance arc and the last couple of episodes where he felt like the main character. But other than that, nothing really changes for him. As far as supporting characters go, pretty much everyone from the original Haruhi are part of it, with the addition of some other characters, such as Ryoko Asakura, who plays the role of big sister and overbearing friend to Nagato. Maybe too supportive of Nagato. She doesn't really do anything for herself as she's just trying to make Nagato happy. Haruhi Suzume makes a return as a supporting character this time around. I love her interactions with Kion because it shows reminiscence from the original and it's pretty comedic to watch. But it doesn't really add too much to the storyline because it's seen from a different perspective, as we see her more of an annoyance. She's still the energetic, eccentric girl we know from the original though. Asahina and Kozumi return as well, but they get very little screen time this time around and have no development in the story whatsoever. Seeing the characters that I've known to love was kind of hard at first. I did get used to the art style eventually, but I don't think the designs were that good to look at. The show was trying to be a very moe show, so the characters had a very cute design added towards them. Not that I mind them, but it was very distracting sometimes, especially during the disappearance arc. And Kion's design really distracted from his personality, as I don't think it really fitted at all. The animation is rather standard, it's nothing special, but it's not bad as it runs smoothly. It sports a very moe art style, but the colors and designs are rather basic. There is not a lot of attention to detail in the art, especially when most of the scenes contain a lot of white or either bright. As for the soundtrack, it is neither memorable nor forgettable. It does its job. There's quite a variety of music to be heard that really complements the lighthearted scenes. And
and the soundtrack gets better in episodes 10 to 13 because of the shift in tone. The opening theme is not that great. It fits the more light-hearted moe theme, but during those 4 episodes of the Disappearance arc, it didn't really belong at all. However, for the ending theme, although it didn't fit for the majority of the series, it really fit for those 4 episodes, and I did like the ending theme better than the opening theme. One thing I did like about Satellite is that they got the original cast from Haruhi to star in the show, which I love because we've grown accustomed to these characters and voices, although some may be just a little bit different in tone. When I look back at what was the most enjoyable part of the show, I have to say episodes 10 to 13, the Disappearance arc. That was the best part of the show because of the sudden change in pace and tone. However, if it wasn't for the build-up pre-episode 10, I don't think I would be as surprised as how it really turned out. Yes, it does take a while to get interesting because it just starts out as a generic romance comedy, slice of life. But those episodes between 10 and 13 were the most heartwarming, intense, and interesting moments of the show. But that's all there is to the show. It gets kind of boring with nothing happening for a long time. And the ending was kind of underwhelming as it just kind of ended. But if it wasn't for the Haruhi characters, I probably wouldn't have any interest in the show. Simply because I watched the show for the Haruhi characters.
For the story, I give it a 6, only because the Disappearance arc and how it completely surprised me made it really interesting. But for the most part, it plays a safe generic slice of life romance story. It does take a while to build up, but those 4 episodes were worth it. However, the ending after that is kind of underwhelming. For the animation sound, they get a 5 and 7 for me. The art style is fine for the genre, but felt very unfitting to some of the characters, especially Kion. And when the tone changed in the Disappearance arc, it was kind of hard to take everything too seriously. Also the fact that the animation nothing special, it is rather simple. The sound, however, did a good job fitting in with the different scenarios and peaked during the Disappearance arc. However, the opening and the ending themes fit only one proportion of the anime, as they weren't really all that memorable. The characters get a 6 from me, because like everything else, seeing Nagato and Kion in the Disappearance arc really made things interesting, and the show really needed it. And I loved the interaction between Kion and Haruhi. However, nothing really happened for the rest of the characters of the show. Even the interaction between Nagato and Kion felt like it was going nowhere. For my own personal enjoyment, I give it a 6. This would have been a 4 or lower if it didn't have Haruhi characters, and if it didn't have the Disappearance arc. Everything before the Disappearance arc is fun to watch for a bit, but it gets kind of repetitive. And honestly, I just watched this show for the Haruhi characters, but I didn't find the show as enjoyable as I could have had. So after rounding the scores up, I give the Disappearance of Nagato Yuki-chan a 6 out of 10. If it went for episodes 10 to 13, the show would have been a generic slice of life romance for Haruhi characters. The story, even though it starts off slow, has the surprise factor of the Disappearance arc, which made things really interesting, and I was really hooked onto it. I recommend this show to fans of the slice of life genre and the romance genre for a simple basic anime with a surprise factor. However, if you never really enjoyed a Haruhi series, this would not change your opinion at all, so it's a fun skippable anime as well. And it was probably the most disappointing anime of spring 2015, because I really wanted to enjoy Haruhi characters again.
Well, that's it for this edition of You an Anime Review. If you want to read the written review, link is down below in the description straight to my anime list. And if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you don't, give it a thumbs down. You can't bother, go watch another. With that all said and done, I'll see you guys next time in the Disappearance of Newin. Sayonara!
ちょっと待ちなさい。救急車はいい。それより暖房の効いてるところへ連れて行きなさい。今すぐに。